Take this good advice.
What's going on? I know y'all been waiting for part 5, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop part 5, man. Before I begin, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Now part 5, most of y'all checked out part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and part 5. Just a little recap of about part 4 coming to part 5 is I did that lease purchase with the company, a smaller company, and it didn't work out. It did not work out. So I turned in the truck and I went on to my next company. And this started in September of 2018. Yep, September 2018. And this is the company that really, I believe this company's really changed a lot for me. So this company was Meadowlark Transport. I ended up doing a full maintenance lease. With all the stuff that was going on with the previous company, I told myself, hey, let's find a company that had a full maintenance lease. So I ran into Meadowlark out of Montana. And of course, what I did was I was trying to find a driver that can verify this. And I found a driver that was working at Meadowlark at the time, and he verified it and he told me, hey, yeah, this is what it is. So Meadowlark Transport has agents. So Meadowlark, basically what that means is Meadowlark Transport is a carrier that has the DOT number, and they have other trucking companies that doesn't have DOT numbers, which is called agents, and they're pretty much using Meadowlark's authority to kind of build their trucking company. Or some other agents don't even have a trucking company; they're just an agent, It's kind of self-explanatory. It's kind of like a broker agent, but it's really it's like on the trucking side. A lot of companies do it. But anyway, so Meadowlark I was under Meadowlark's authority. And the agent I was under was Deaton Transport out of Ohio. So basically, and Deaton, the guy's name was Deaton. His last name was Deaton. Their family was Deaton, and they had like, I think at the time, like 3 trucks. So anyways, and Deaton was my I had a dispatch at Deaton. Well, I'll dive in that in a second. But anyway, so I lease on to Meadowlark Transport. They fly me out from Missouri to Montana to take the test. Take the test and go over some paperwork. So Meadowlark had Penske and Ryder trucks. I ended up getting a Ryder truck, a Volvo, and it was full maintenance lease, so it covered everything. And I was getting a 75-25 split, which was cool at the time. And I was making some decent money with Meadowlark, even though the truck payment was $950 a week. I always ask a question, I ask the question, or y'all ask a question, would I ever go back and do it again? Yes, I will go back and do it again. It was $950, but what I know now, I could probably even make more money. But I still made decent money doing the $950 a week with the Ryder truck full maintenance lease. I didn't have to worry about breakdowns anymore, and it was cool, for the time being. But so I was doing it, doing my thing, and maybe about, I want to say, a month and a half in, Meadowlark calls me and they asked me, hey, we got this other program we're launching which was it was like a deal where they was giving you $3,500, and they said I qualified, and I was like, what do you mean you give me $3,500? Yeah, they was like, yeah, we'll give you $3,500 to go get your own truck. You just got to pay it back. It's your truck. You do what you want to do. You take it where you want to go. But you can't leave till you pay the $3,500 back. So they sent me all the information. I looked over, checked out, and they had options of where I can go get a truck from. So the options where they wanted me to get a truck from was either Select Trucks, Bulldogs, Aero Trucks, Rush Trucks. And I think that was it. Those are the only options. And I was like, well, I didn't want a truck from none of those places at the time, I said I wanted a Kenworth, and I asked them, hey, I want to get a truck from MHC. They was like, well, MHC is not approved with us. And I was like, well, can y'all see about getting approved? They was like, okay, let us check. So maybe about a couple hours later, they hit me back, towards the end of the day, and it was like, hey, we approved MHC. I was like, oh, for real? I was like, and they was like, yeah. So I went with MHC, and pretty much I found the MHC guy I was trying to deal with. Well, I actually missed the opportunity. Actually, I was supposed to be going to get a red truck. It was a red T660, but I missed out on the deal because I took too long. So I ended up getting a white T680 Kenworth. From the manager was out of Springfield, Missouri, but the truck was in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So I was dealing with the guy from Springfield. So we did the deal. They transferred the $3,500. All I had to come up was $1,500. $1,500. This is my first time running my credit through a trucking dealership. I didn't know, that, hey, I got approved for a truck for $5,000 down. So I went with the process. They gave me $3,500. I came up with $1,500. I went to Chattanooga, got the truck, turned in that Volvo at a Ryder dealership up the street. Got my truck. I didn't do no checks on it or anything, no oil sample, no nothing, man. I was like, hey, man, this is the truck I wanted. Let's go. Big mistake. And so I got the white T680, and at this time, I went, because I had to pay back the $3,500. So my goal was to pay back the $3,500 as soon as possible. They wanted me to spread it out $100 a week, and I was like, nah, I ain't doing that. So I wanted to pay back $3,500 as soon as possible because I already knew I wanted to leave that company once I got that truck. But so what I ended up doing was I went teaming. So at the time, me and a buddy of mine's, we went teaming, and I went teaming for about another month and a half, and I ended up paying back the $3,500. But in the meantime of me doing that, I was dealing with a lot of breakdowns. Like I was doing weekly breakdowns. It started getting like out of hand. So the first breakdown, I took care of, and then I'm talking about my first breakdown was like my first week getting the truck. So the next breakdown happened, and this is when I went to the MAC about it. I was like, hey man, I had 2 breakdowns in 2 weeks. What's up? And they actually paid for that second breakdown. And so I kept having these breakdowns. Fast forward a little bit, I kept having these breakdowns, weekly breakdowns, and I kept telling MAC, hey, I have another breakdown. They took care of it. And then it got to a point where I was like, look, man, enough is enough with the breakdowns. What can we do to resolve this? And, first, the general manager at MAC didn't want to take care of it, or whatever. He didn't want to. There was nothing he could do, man. He was like, hey, we'll just keep, he didn't say, hey, we just keep taking care of it, but he was like, there's really nothing we can do. We're trying to figure it out. We're figuring it out. He kept giving me some mumbo jumbo stuff. So what I ended up doing was I ended up calling MAC, the vice president of MAC out of Kansas City, Kansas, one of the places. And we got to talking. He said, hey, man, we're going to take care of it. He didn't take care of it, as fast as I wanted him to do, because I think he took it as a joke. So I ended up getting in contact with the president of MAC. And, there was some lawyer talk thrown around in there somewhere. And he kind of got to a point where, hey, man, look, we don't want to deal with this issue. We're trying to resolve it. What do you want us to do? We can either pay for that white truck and pay for it and you'll be done with it, walk away, or we can look for another truck for you. And I told him, hey, let's look for another truck for me, And they end up finding me another truck, and that's how I got the blue truck. Fully loaded, APU, only had 500,000 miles, and it came from Transplace out of Missouri. Transplace is a pretty big company. So I knew that it came from a carrier. It was well taken care of. And, so in the meantime of me getting that truck, though, it was the whole month of December. So, the white truck was in Atlanta. They told me to park the truck in Atlanta. And before I got the blue truck, so the whole month of December, they're trying to give me a rental truck. They couldn't find me a rental truck, so I ended up getting a day cab. So they ended up giving me a 2019 day cab from MAC for free. So I had a day cab for a whole month for free. And, which, I was doing some, wild things and some illegal things. But, hey, at the end of the day, I had bills to pay. It was Christmas, and I had to do what I had to do. So I had the day cab for a whole month for free. And Meadowlark calls me, and they find out that I had a day cab towards the end of the deal. They didn't know I had a day cab. So by the time I end up turning the day cab in, that's when the blue truck came. So they transferred the blue truck from Springfield, Missouri, all the way to Atlanta, free of charge for me. And I ended up getting the blue truck, and everything was a go. I think I stayed with Meadowlark for an additional month or 2 months, and I end up leaving. End up parting ways with Meadowlark, and that's going to lead us into part 6. If y'all like this content, man, and make sure y'all hit the like button, subscribe, man. I went through it with this, and I kept going. And I say all this, man, just keep trucking, man. Just keep trucking and keep, believing in yourself, So I'm going to end it like that, man, and make sure y'all stay tuned for part 6, man, and I'll catch y'all later.